welcome. We have a very special guest today in our studio. He is Professor A.K. Gupta, Chief Executive of ICAIs. Sir, welcome to our show. And first of all, I would like to ask you, sir, this is your first visit to Berhampur University. How you felt? What is your first impression?
I like the campus so much. It's my first visit, and while this is a very short visit, I certainly would like to stay here a little more. Very rich biodiversity, quite green, and even if I know many of the faculty members, their research background, so this university has been contributing really very significant, not only to education but to research also. So it's a matter of joy for me.
You have about 30 years of vast experience and you have mostly worked on disaster risk reduction and climate action. So, what motivates you, sir, to basically focus on this?
See, India, now we say that is an economy in transition. A few decades before, we were a developing country, purely developing country. Before that, it was underdeveloped countries. And we know that by our hard-earned resources or development, any kind of disaster or any climate extremes, the kind of loss and damage it causes, it puts the development quite backward. Many times it creates even negative kind of this thing. So, in order to fulfill the vision of a developed nation by 2047, or otherwise also to improve the quality of life of the people and to evolve a sustainable way forward, addressing disaster risk and related vulnerabilities is very important. Then it also has some relationship with my own background. Like Orissa is a developing state, it has a lot of challenges, but it has a lot of opportunities and a lot of lessons also of addressing climate change and disasters. I spent my childhood was in the state of Madhya Pradesh, central India. A lot of similarity. There also we had the problems of drought, while no issues of cyclone, but water-related challenges, drought, floods, these kind of things were there. So, with my journey of my education, college education, university days, I realized that disasters are something which are a major impediment to our sustainable growth. And that actually encouraged me that we should have a sustainable efforts and a concerted kind of a mechanism to address this issue. So that motivated me. And then when I started this journey, I got a lot of support from various people, a lot of encouragement. And when when you see some success, some support, then certainly you feel more and more motivated.
Sir, you have worked with the government, you are an academician, you are a researcher, you have also worked in industry. What's the difference and what role you have played and what is the difference in visit?
In fact, I consider this a great blessing for me that I got the opportunity to work in diverse settings. Started from the state government also, central government also, with ministries, international the work environments, industry, as you told, academia. What I find that which side of the table you are, I think that gives a specific set of exposure, and that derives your set of thinking. If in a corporate sector, you are mostly driven by profit making or businesses. If you are in academia, the driving force is primarily how you impart knowledge to the students, how you run your courses in a better way, and then you have research publications, this kind of things. While in the government, your expectations and your focus changes. You are looking more at how you operationalize the things. Your planning would be entirely different. Your planning would look that whether we would be able to really implement this plan on the ground or not. What are the resources needed? What are the timelines needed? And then uh, the if you are in a purely research like CSIR kind of things, there teaching is not primary this thing. Then there is more research and academic research and industry kind of orientation. So this I saw, and that is the reason I am advocating very strongly the integrated approach, and efficient coordination. And my current focus is on the bringing a strong interface between all these fraternities, so that whatever knowledge is being generated in the research institutions, it is imparted to the students. It is also going to the policymakers, and what are the challenges of the policymakers and implementers, that is communicated to the researchers effectively, so that they think of a new research in that direction and bring the kind of innovative solutions. So that has been really something very good with my journey of my disaster management and climate change. This thing.
So, what do you think that how private and government sector can collaborate to deal with climate change and disaster?
I think there is a growing realization in the industry and private sector also about climate change. Earlier, we were talking of the climate change with reference to the communities, with reference to the impact on rural communities, urban communities, and then we started talking about the infrastructure. Now, I'm sharing one thing that we did some research that how climate change is going to affect various industries and industrial states that we did in the state of Andhra Pradesh and Odisha, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. And we found that now industries are also taking this matter seriously. For example, if the threshold temperature, the maximum temperature that was earlier going to 42 degree, now if it is going to 48 degree, then there is a more water required for cooling. And then if there is a limited water, then there will be more conflict with the society. So there is a need to increase recycling capacities or something like that, and the water conservation and water management, efficient water management practices. So, then there may be accidents of there may be risk of the more fire related accidents also. So similar things are there. Second thing, there is also a good business opportunity for the industries and private sectors. And third aspect, there are CSR, that is corporate social responsibility. And there actually a certain percentage of the profit of the corporates or the business houses, they spend on various human welfare, social welfare things. And if they are told that if they can spend that amount in disaster management related issues, climate change adaptation related issues, it will be much more win-win situation. So they are coming forward. So this is something very important. And the last one, I would say that for private players, lot of innovations, like now a lot of startups are now coming. Young people are coming up with industry, setting their startups and coming up with innovative solutions for disaster management also.
Sir, how do you see in the next 5 to 10 years the field of disaster risk reduction and climate action?
What I see that globally there has been a lot of thought process, and if we see at the global discourses, many times there is a lot of enthusiasm and the opportunities are there. Sometimes there is not that kind of thing if our negotiations do not result into that direction. So we should have a twin mechanisms. One, that to a great extent we should have a common minimum agenda where we have our own resources, like the local initiatives, where even if we do not get the resources from outside, we should be able to pace up our activities, and then the top up should be from outside. So I think that's very important. And disaster management is inevitable because disasters are growing. There is no curve on this. Even if we are trying to reduce the impact of climate change, these are growing because the climate change has already occurred. So it is a very long process to mitigate that. So how do we understand damage and losses, and how do we address that risk? I think that is very important. So we need to invest in localizing disaster risk resilience agenda. I think that's very important.
So finally, I would like to ask you that give some suggestion to our professionals or students or researchers who want a career in disaster risk pollution management and climate change, or we can say sustainability?
I have seen the young people with innovative thoughts. This generation has huge capacities. And to some extent, the credit goes to their teachers also and the people who motivate and guide them. So, this generation of professionals and students, I see a miraculous potential. And in fact, the huge responsibility also lies on their shoulder because we say that Vision 2047, the 100 years of India's independence, they are going to be the leaders. The people who are going to lead that country in the year 2047, their vision, their wisdom, and their innovative thoughts is very, very important. And uh, what kind of business opportunities they can see, so that it will also help they at the same time addressing disaster risk related issues, but also employment opportunities, business opportunities. And by addressing climate change, it will also reduce the risk of health related challenges, food security, water related challenges. I think many problems are related with this, but since SDG that we have is going to complete by the timeline is 2030. So all the generation and professionals need to gear up and be serious in the thought that what about 2030? Because we are not going to achieve all the goals and whatever we had targets. So we have to start thinking beyond the box. I think this is one of the key message from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for insightful discussion with us. And we are very much delighted to have you here. And thank you so much.
Thank you.